Honda thinks today that an Activa engine that just continues to run is enough quality for an Indian customer, which is what we're objecting to. We're saying, no, the rest of it, please, the rest of it. Suzuki sees the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ather sees the whole thing. The Chetak sees the whole thing, and it's a Bajaj. And we've never really associated Bajaj with quality, and they're now working on that in the next 5 years. I think that story will also change a little bit.
My God, genuinely, for me, the Chetak feels like
It
the
was amazing,
flagship.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like modern,
Exactly.
premium,
right?
Impressive.
Indian brands are doing better on quality than the biggest Japanese brand in the country is just a debacle for the Japanese company. It has nothing to do with anything else. Right? Look at the CB350 Highness, my favorite drum to beat upon. But it is not representative of their global quality. You go to a big wing today, you'll see the Africa Twin standing there, you'll see the Transalp standing there, and you'll see the series of 350 standing there. Look at that quality and look at this quality and tell me that they're coming from the same people.
Forget everything. Just look at the switchgear. Look at nothing else. But look at the switchgear. My God. When that CB Shine SP came out, that was the first time in ages that I saw a Honda and I thought that, wow, this feels like a Honda.
Correct.
And I'm talking just about that one facet, what you see on the switchgear.
Yeah.
Everything else, like I when I bought my Dio, which was in 2008, 9, something like that, right? I was Honda fanboy.
Correct.
No two ways. I love the sensibility of reliability, smooth performance, easy, tireless. And the Dio, I loved the styling.
Correct.
Right? I just loved it. But my disappointment was, it was inescapable. That grab rail at the rear, the plastics, I don't know what you want to call it, but the pieces that block in with the panels fell off.
Yeah.
The panel, the footboard panel, the front apron, all of that discolored. It was just like, what the hell, dude?
It was the automatic Honda weight reduction program so that your scooter gets faster with time. And the other was you're riding so fast that the paint was getting blown off.
Thanks, man. From behind, सामने से कुछ नहीं.
Well, if your expectation is Honda's reliable, I must be doing something wrong, then you'll reach these conclusions and they make no sense.
Yeah. It was a genuine, as much as, again, I loved that scooter. It ran flawlessly. I had no issues with it. But this was a part of what I expected from Honda, right? Saying that it should continue to look and feel good as well.
Yeah.
And I had a CBC before that, which was superb. There was no issue with the CBC.
Yeah.
But the Dio was definitely a step down. It was definitely a step down.
And think about what that means for your expectation of quality today. Right? We get a lot of commentary about how Honda makes high quality vehicles. Okay, cars, fair enough, they still do. Honda two-wheelers are high quality two-wheelers. They haven't been in the last 5 or 6. They are saying, what will an Indian perceive as high quality? Let's go there and let's not do anything more than that. It is just not required. Which is why if you look at our Activa View story, it doesn't say Honda's cheapened out. It says you're getting what you deserve. If you keep your expectations low, manufacturers have no incentive to give you more than that. It would take Honda Japan to tell Honda India saying, listen, okay, we get the fact that this is the right way to make a lot of money quickly, but you're trading in our brand values in the process, which will accrue in time. So please stop doing it. And please go back to making more expensive, higher quality products that speak to our global ethos. And yes, that means profits will be low out of India for the next 5 years. But 5 years from now, when India suddenly becomes affluent and experience-oriented, we will be the Honda we represent to the world.
Story is not so different with four-wheelers either. Because if you think about the Elevate, right, which is the latest Honda, an SUV, right? What is the game changer in the Elevate?
The boot.
The boot. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Or the fact that Honda got an SUV finally into the segment, the Creta segment, that's about it. Because, and this is something that people, where they are over-indexed on reliability. They will say, by over-indexed, I mean what they are over-committed to the reliability side.
Yeah.
That it's a Honda, it'll last for 15 years. Yeah, but what's the big deal? Like, and they say, will a Creta last as long? And my frank answer is that I don't know.
Maybe the Creta owners are evolved enough to realize that a car will probably not be in your garage 5 years from now, so it doesn't matter if it lasts 15 years or not. But the Honda guys are not so evolved, so they're like, no, I have to keep this car for 15 years.
And I'm talking directly from, I know, I'm talking directly from within the family where there's been a Creta. And that too, the most boring Creta that I can imagine, which is the first gen, which was a good car, but with the 1.5 liter NA engine with a manual transmission, which feels like a complete, like a duck car.
Yeah, so that is the car where the drivers flash their headlights at the guys ahead a lot, and they're basically saying, please move out of my way. If I slow down, I'll never get back to speed up again.
Correct. Because no matter which gear you're in, you're just like, I don't know what's going on, just let it drive itself. You know, that's the kind of car it is.
Yeah.
But that car has been now, what, 6-7 years? And my brother-in-law is still using it, like regularly. And for him, the car to me on the inside feels ageless. Has it started feeling like it's worn down? No, it's driving fine. So if a Creta will last me 10 years without batting an eyelid, I don't know what I'm actually squabbling over on this front or overthinking on this front. If it's going to last me 10 years, the Ignis is now over 5 years old. It drives like new. How much more reliability do I want from this car? I don't want it to last 50 years. I can see it lasting me 10 years easy.
Exactly. It's same with my KTM. My KTM is now 10 years old. Everybody says KTM's 40,000 kilometers, you'll have to rebuild your engine. No, KTMs are a little bit more sensitive to timely maintenance than other machines. And if you stay on top of it, it's not that expensive or that complicated. Right? My KTM still feels more or less brand new to ride. And I have worked very hard to keep the feelings there, and not by throwing parts at it constantly. It's not been an expensive bike to own. It's just to make sure it is on top of where it needs to be. That means oil changes happen on time. The fluid levels in the radiator are checked on a regular basis, because we know it's a bike that runs hot, and you compensate for it by checking it more often. Does that mean I actually have to top up my radiator more often? No, I have to check it more often. I'm more on top of, is there enough oil in this bike or not, because I know it runs hot. So it will probably try to burn some oil. God forbid. My bike doesn't burn any oil at all. So we've never had a problem on this front. You make sure the chain tension is in the right place, because it's a strain point. Strain will create more heat. It's a hot bike, and so on and so forth. I'll never get the tires get bad on my KTM, because it's a violently powerful bike anyway. And this is that first raw generation. It needs its tires. I upgraded the brakes because I think you can have more brakes on this bike, because you have good tires. You have good tires, an explosive engine, you've upgraded a suspension, thing is going to fly. If the thing is going to fly, then we need to stop it well as well. But outside of these small 5-8 changes, which are all now 5 years old or 6 years old or something like that, what have I actually done on this bike? To the point where I'm willing to open my heart and say, you know what, take parts. We know it's slightly less reliable than the average Honda, but it's done a stellar job of bringing us up to here. Let us give it that thanks. If this was a Ducati, this thanks would have cost me a lot of money. It's a KTM, where they call and say stuff like, sir, sprocket change karna hai, but the whole set will come. The set is very expensive, right? And you're like, okay, how expensive is this thing, and why are you eating my head, right? And he's like, sir, it's 2,360 rupees for the set.
Correct. Which is both sprockets and chain, everything.
Which is incredible value.
Correct.
It's incredible value.
Same thing, I didn't get it only, when I had the first gen, people would just be like, oh, it's so unreliable, it's so this, it's so that. I never had any issue with my
but
bike.
it is a sensitive bike.
In what way?
If you don't get your oil changes done on time, then it will start. It's the basic maintenance thing.
Basics, no.
Yes, but think about it like this. The average KTM person, the owner, and we are the exception here in this room, perhaps, like you and us, most of them don't read their manuals. They think the KTM manual says go faster, big wheelies, big stoppies, have fun, right? And this is not just true for KTM. This is true for every brand that you think is unreliable. And the truly unreliable brands, if you can't tell, maybe you shouldn't be buying a vehicle in the first place.
What gave you the idea that we talk about cars and bikes? We talk about physical health, mental health, family, relationships, travel, and a lot more. Head on to the main MotorInc channel and catch up on all of that, plus cars and bikes.